Hey guys, we're back with where we left off, and we've finished blocking out the level. I've added a few more static meshes in there just to fill out the scene a bit. You guys can have a play around with whatever you'd like, but kind of use meshes in interesting ways. Like I've got the health file here from. If I go into the generic browser, all I did then was right click on this and find in content browser. You can see that's like a really small health file, so if we add it into the level, just by dragging it in there, it's just a small health pickup which you may recognize from Unreal Tournament games. I've added a few boxes and barrels in there. We've put some stairs just with a simple BSP brush. This is going to be a pickup to open our door. You kind of want to make that the focal part of the game. And I've also added a few other static meshes. There's the health vial just tipped upside down, the kind of particle effect that you get. And just playing around with a few shapes. That's a rocket launcher pack. And just have fun with it, really. We're going to go into lighting the scene now. First and foremost is, if we close the generic browser, if you click on a pre-made map template, say the evening sky, we've already got a directional light in there which has all of our our moon beams. If you move this around, it's not going to affect your lighting, so you can move that out of the way so you can see it a bit more clearly. And what I like to do is to change the draw scale up down in this bottom corner to 5, just so, I mean, if you're working on a large map, it helps you easily identify it much easier. The Epic guys have already done that with the height fog actor. You can check that out. So the first thing is that the ceiling is not lit at all, and it isn't affected by the directional light. So we need to add our own light in there. So if you go to the content browser again, and this time we're going to go into the actor classes tab, and this has all the different types of actors. A lot of them you won't be needing at the moment, but if you guys just dive in there and check it out, you'll find a lot of interesting things. We're going to expand the lights toggle and go to skylights, and then expand that and just click on skylight there, and then just right click in your level and click add skylight here, and immediately this just brightens up the entire scene. We'll change the draw scale again, just a bit of a larger icon so we can see it, and we'll drag it out near our directional light. A few properties that we want to play around in, we've not touched upon this, but if you want to open up the actor properties with your actor selected, we'll just press F4 and this brings up the light properties. I don't really want any brightness at the moment in here, so I'm just going to change the brightness to 0. You'll find this if all your tabs are shut, then you find it in the light tag, light component, and then the main light component thing there. I've just bumped the brightness back down to 0, and it's the lower light that we want to be focusing on here. So if we put the lower light brightness at maybe like 0.1 or maybe 0.05 would do it. You just want a bit of colour in there. And normally I change the colour. I just clicked on this colour bar here, and normally I change it to like a nice blue colour. Not too dark, but you know, just to get a bit of colour into the ceiling. And that should do it for now. So we've got the light in there. We want to start lighting these. I mean, any point light sources in your level you really want to make believable, so we want to be adding lights in there. So if I just hold down the L key on my keyboard and left mouse click, it adds a light in here for us. So it's kind of added it inside the mesh there. As you can see, this is really bright. So first thing to do, we need to change the radius. So we'll press F4 to open up the properties again, and again all these components are open. So we'll just go to light component, and then light component again. The radius you can find in point light component, and we'll bump this down to maybe 256, possibly even 128. You can see this the cylinder sphere even around the light, and that shows you your light radius. You can actually change the light radius. If we hold down, press the spacebar, we can kind of scale it like that, but I like to use normal values, 256, 512, things like that. But it's entirely up to you how you do that. I'm going to change the light color to a red color, not too dark though. Maybe a slight bit of orange in there as well. Generally, you don't want oversaturated colors, so it's just about picking a nice kind of mid ground there. And I'm going to bump the brightness up. No, maybe we'll bump it down. We'll see what happens. I'll kind of confine the radius a bit, I think, and then maybe bump the brightness up to 2, and that gives me a nice effect. It's just lighting up that bit of the scene there. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this down, holding Alt, and there we go. That looks pretty nice, and we get a bit of colour in the floor there. And then we'll select both of them, holding Control, and then press Alt. And if I hold Shift as well, it moves the camera. So I'm holding down Alt and Shift, left mouse dragging, and that looks about right there. I will also select these two and hold Alt again. This time I'm going to drag them down in my top view because we're kind of across the path there. So holding down Alt, kind of just center them up there, and that looks pretty nice so far. A good little trick for lighting. I'm not going to do it here, but in a couple of Horance's maps, I've seen him go into the actor classes, and you want a spotlight. If you just drop down the spotlight component and hold a spotlight, if you right click and add spotlight here, what he sometimes does is he kind of bumps it up and kind of adds a bit of a ramp to the spotlight, so you can kind of see it spreading across the floor like that. I'm not going to do it in this case there, but it's a nice idea to play around with. I'm just going to close this tab again, and so we want to be adding a kind of luminous green colour to here. So I'm just going to hold down the L button again on my keyboard and add the light there. I'm going to move it into position, bring it up out of the ground, move it into the corner a bit. Press F4 to bring up my properties and bring that brightness back down, and we'll change the colour first. So we want a nice green colour. Oh, that looks pretty good actually. I'm not sure if I want it too bright. That looks pretty cool actually. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to stick that. If we are selecting the emitter instead of the actual light, we can either hide the emitter like that and then select the thing, or if we show it all again, remember this tab up here would allow translucent selection. Sorry, if we just toggle that off, then we can select our light and not the actual emitter. So it's entirely up to you how you do it. I like keeping that toggle on just so we can always select our things. So I'm just going to duplicate this light across, holding Alt and left mouse dragging into somewhere there, and that looks pretty good. I think I'll add an overall blue light in this section because of the blue. I'll just close this. Because of the blue lighting emitting out of these generators, we'll add a blue light. Left L key on your keyboard, sorry, clicking, and just raise this up into the room. And what I'll do is press F4, bring the radius down to about 512 maybe even 400. I know they're not the equal numbers that I like to use, but we'll change this to a nice blue colour. Yeah, that might do it. And maybe just bump the brightness down to like 0.4. It may not seem like much, but it just adds a nice little touch there. We'll add a light to this. This is going to be an interactable section when we're sorting out our Kismet. So we want the player to be focusing on this bit. So again, just hitting the L key on our keyboard, left mouse clicking, and then we can pull this out here. By default, when you're bringing in the lights in Unreal, they are white. Generally, you don't ever want to be having white lights in your levels. Even if it's just a case like this, you want to be tinting it with a bit of yellow, just to make it a bit more believable. And I think the brightness might be okay at 1 there actually. I mean, it just adds a bit of a focal point, and obviously when we rebuild our lighting, it'll look much better. So I'll leave that there for now. I'm happy with that so far. So we're covering all our light sources. I'll tackle these overhead lights in a second. This looks pretty okay there. I might add a few spotlights there to highlight that, but we'll go to these sections here and we want to add a few green lights, exactly like we did before. So I think adding it out here, maybe bumping down. We do want a general overall nice greenish feel to this. We want a kind of molten, kind of goo type effect, which I think works pretty nicely there. Maybe, yeah, bumping up the brightness to about 2. That looks good so far. And just going in our top-down view, maybe aligning this a bit more with our mesh. As you can see, our mesh is sticking out here. So this is our light. Again, so our other mesh. And lastly, here. So I mean that creates a nice little effect. I think I'll see what the spotlights look like on this section here. So opening our generic browser, actor classes, expanding lights, spotlight, and clicking on spotlight. Right click, it's not selected. Sometimes it has trouble clicking here. Just keep trying, and yeah, you can just drag and drop the spotlight actually. But if you ever have a problem, I'm not actually sure how to solve that. It may be an issue with multiple screens. I'm not too sure. So just add that to the source. And moving up a bit. Just whatever you feel happy with, really. Pressing F4 for the properties. Bumping these down to maybe 512 for the radius. That's in the point light component. Maybe 512 might be a bit too far actually. Let's see where 300 gets us. Maybe 400. That'd be nice. Going to our cone angle, you can change that there. That's a property that you may want to look out for. I'm going to stick for 44 so far because I want a few shadows coming off this platform here. Scrolling down to the light component. Maybe bumping these are pretty bright lights, so maybe bumping this brightness up to there, and maybe just having a slight blue tint on there, just off white. So we'll see how that works out. And then we'll just duplicate that, holding down Alt and rotating that into place, 90 degrees. These lights don't snap on the rotation grid, so it'll be tricky to get exactly 90 degrees, but anything close to that will be fine. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and build a light mass importance volume, which we have talked about before. Actually no, this scene comes with one, so we'll quickly go over that. If you use any of the map templates, they'll automatically come with a light mass importance volume. That's this volume here. If you hit F4, it says light mass importance volume. You build it with your red builder brush, and you can find it under this volumes tab here, light mass importance volume, and pretty much you just need to build a big box around your level. I'm just going to move this down a bit just so you can see it. And that big box, it kind of includes all your lighting information, and it's just you can look it up on the UDN network under light mass, and it'll explain all about light mass there. All you need to know for now is that you need to put a big box around your level using this red builder brush. If we right click our red builder brush and say we click 2000, 2000, 2000 and hit build, it kind of puts a big box there, and then you would right click light mass importance volume, and then once we got a big box around our level, we can hit build all. I'll just build this lighting now and then load up the video in a second.